I had something I need to bring before council that was time sensitive, so this will just be a quick discussion by council in a special meeting. Today is Thursday, February 20th, 2025. The time is 6:05. Would everyone at this time please stand for prayer and pledge? Councilman Park.
Join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessings that you've given us in this little city of Rolling Forest. We ask you, Father, to be with our police, our military, and our other first responders who serve us unselfishly. We ask you, Father, to be with this council and this mayor. Help us to ask the right questions and look at the right things to move the city forward and give us the wisdom to do that. We pray that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge to the flag of our country. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great state of Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Go ahead and take roll call for me.
Mayor Chris Parr.
Here.
Councilmember Mitchell Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Chris Ellis.
Here.
Councilmember Jerry Reasoner. Councilmember Greg Parton. Councilmember Larry Sanders. City Engineer Greg Phipps is here. City Secretary Marie Campbell.
Here.
Chief of Police Stephen Carlisle. City Attorney Scott Francis is not here, and City Administrator Scott Castleberry is here.
You are here, yes, sir. All right, council. So the reason why I needed to call this special meeting, we had discussed the repair to the pool splash pad at the city park, and we found some additional problems were found. That amount has increased. I want to bring this to you guys, make you aware of it, get your approval to spend the additional money. Mr. Castleberry is going to fill you in on what was found and what monies will be used to make up that difference.
Yes, sir. We, when they did the leak test, we discovered 2 leaks that were big leaks that were cost a little bit of money to fix. But when the lowered the level of the water in the pool, we found other leaks that were behind the tile, and rather than trying just to pick apart how we're going to fix the tile part of it, it was decided, talking with the man that was doing the work, that taking down the tile, that probably the original tile, and fixing the holes behind those tiles, which added to that cost, which got us to that total of the $12,000 with some other things. They're also going to repair a light that was in the deep end that doesn't work that we found, and a couple other things that you'll see on that list. But I'm just asking you to approve that additional money. I told you at the previous meeting that if the original amount wasn't right, we found things in that I'd be back. So I'm back tonight asking for that additional money. For approval of to spend that money.
To spend the additional, we've already approved. Sorry, I don't have the amount in front of me.
The original?
This $12,115 would be an additional amount to that original approval.
It was about 67, 66, 67.
Yes, sir, Council.
Just a quick question. I wasn't here for the meeting when we approved it. I understand we had discussed previously before, I guess I come down,
No, you're good. I hear you.
that was just curious, when we approved the original contract, did we agree at a change order rate that it would be cost of work plus a percentage, or were we competitively bid the original work? I'm assuming this work has not been competitively bid. So did we agree that it would be at a stipulated change order rate in the original contract, that they would not charge more than a certain percentage and that it was gonna be, since we're not gonna be competitively bidding it?
No, sir, we got the 5 bids on the first part, the $67,000.
Several bids on it.
And
Right,
then,
I know we did on the first one, so we're just taking it
We
on
did not
good faith
completely bid
that
the
this
next
one
one.
is priced.
this is the same one that's gonna also do the repairs on the splash pad.
Understand
So we're
that?
gonna stay consistent with who we got.
Being in construction, we're all familiar with the adage of, you know, the change order is the little dinghy and the yacht is the, excuse me, the change order is the yacht and the original contract is the dinghy.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Other questions, council, for Scott, or any questions?
I have a question here.
Yes, sir.
On the additional repairs that they're doing to the pool, is that gonna be the final repairs they're gonna be doing to the pool, or is there gonna be some more after this?
As far as I know, this is the final one, yes, sir.
They were given the approval to start the repairs at the rate that we approved.
Yes, I know that.
And once they started those repairs, the additional problems were found, and they looked at the rest of,
Yeah,
so they pretty much got a good look at everything once that water was drained down.
we don't anticipate there's gonna be any
So that's where I was going
leaks
with
or
this.
anything anywhere.
I don't think I can guarantee you 100%, but I can tell you that I don't anticipate there being another change order on this.
Hope not.
Yes, sir.
I have one other question.
Yes, sir.
Did we ever get any approval from East Texas, what, MSED?
I had that meeting, yes, sir, I had it last Friday. They did not meet again with their board of directors for a few more weeks. I felt it was a very positive meeting, and I think we'll get some support there.
Okay.
Any other questions for city administrator?
Just for benefit of Mitch, where are the funds coming from?
I don't believe I have if they're coming out of the same one that we talked about last time, they're coming out of the money that was from the Harvey Fund, and also there's out of capital outlay, there is money set aside for the pool that's been set aside for years, and that's where it's coming from. Hopefully then we get the money, MSED comes in with some of the money, what I asked for the other day was for them to match up to 50%, and if they do that, then that money stays and will be able to stay in that fund.
Relatively minor cost, but it says that run new conduit that client will provide. So we're buying the conduit.
Already have it.
Any other questions, council, before I ask for a vote on this? Okay, council, I'm going to ask for a motion and a second to approve the additional $12,115. It will be coming out of that same line item fund that the original $67,000 was coming out of.
I'll make a motion to approve this $12,115 to fix the additional leaks in the pool.
Motion on the floor, Councilman Sanders, to approve the additional $12,115 for the pool splash pad repair. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Barton. Any other discussion on this, council? All in favor of approval? It is unanimous. Thank you, council.
I have a question.
You're good to ask me, go ahead.
MSED, if they match the price, does this money go right back into our improvement fund?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right, Scott, you're good to go ahead, proceed with. Yes, sir. Okay, council, that's the only thing I had on the special meeting agenda. So I would ask at this time for a motion and second to adjourn from our special call council meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion on the floor, Councilman Sanders for adjournment. Do I have a second? Councilman Davis seconds. All in favor of adjournment? Unanimous. This meeting is adjourned. The special meeting is adjourned at 6:15, February 20th. Oh, we gotta do this, hang on. All right. This time, council, I would like to open our scheduled council workshop. Purpose of this workshop is to discuss drainage. So I'm going to declare the council workshop meeting open at 6:15. Go ahead and take roll call for the council workshop. Sir.
Mayor Chris Barr,
Here.
Councilmember Mitchell Davis,
Here.
Councilmember Chris Ellis,
Here.
Councilmember Jerry Reesner, Councilmember Greg Parton,
Here.
Councilmember Larry Sanders,
Here.
City Engineer Greg Phipps, City Secretary Marie Campbell,
Here.
Chief of Police Stephen Carlisle, and City Administrator Scott Castleberry.
Also, I want to show for the workshop, I have Scott Brogan from the Commissioner Precinct 4's office. He is our drainage supervisor at the Commissioner's office. I called him to this meeting for any knowledge, insights, or help that he might be able to get us from the Commissioner's office. The purpose of this meeting, council, is that we have identified the problem for the most part. We have identified the problem areas through pictures, through emails of pictures of people telling us what they're seeing, from city administrator driving around looking with our maintenance department, Scott and I from the county driving around looking at the problems, Greg Phipps driving around looking at the problems. I think the identification of the problems is there. I think we've done that. The purpose of this meeting is now to target and come up with, to identify the solution areas. What areas can we look at to solve these problems? So that's why I'm asking Greg Phipps to do, is we want to look at, we know where the problems are at, let's look at the solution areas. And then I want to prioritize those solution areas into, well, there's two things that come to mind. I've got the Commissioner doing some outfall work around my city. So I want to look at how our drainage issues tie into that, and is there a timeline we need to follow to coordinate with that? And then second of all, I want to look at prioritizing highest impact areas first and down to the lowest impact areas. So the worst case scenarios first, and then down to the least, and always keeping in mind to work with the schedule that the Commissioner has on his outfall projects. Tonight is not necessarily a discussion of cost, because once this is prioritized and we see how we can lump things together, I know costs can change because of that, because companies will have equipment here. So we're going to, we're not going to focus so much on the cost tonight. What I want to see is a plan to move forward, and then that formula can be applied to it, and we can look at the cost on it, and that'll be our next meeting, our next decision that we're going to make. So with that being said, Greg, come on up, and I want City Council, Scott, I'd like to have you at the table. We're going to have a seat at the table, Council, and citizens, I apologize, this is a council workshop. This is not a open house. We definitely invite you guys in to listen and see and watch what we do, but there will not be any questions or answers tonight. This is strictly for council to get with the city engineer, some representatives from the county, and get a game plan down on this. So thank you for your patience on that. All right, guys, let's do it. so we did get a list from Greg, the engineer. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, pretty much the areas that you and I, a lot of the areas, Scott, that you and I were at. I know that Scott and I seen a lot of areas, and I'm sure you would agree, Greg, that it was maintenance. A lot of just ditch maintenance would solve a lot of problems that we've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where we were at, in that area. But a lot of these, what we talked about was ditch maintenance. What's that?
My inside behind it makes a lot of noise.
Oh, sorry.
That's yours.
I thought somebody had the wrong one. Okay, Greg, what I said earlier, so does that sound like a good format to use?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
So I'll just go over just a few things to start.
Sure.
So Precinct has agreed to $900,000+ project approved by Commissioners. We've got, starting from the entrance, there's some stuff that we're looking at right here. We have a ditch that comes down here, crosses, there's a footbridge, the double Kinder Morgan pipelines that have the Sac Creek over the top of them. Pretty shallow, and then it falls off pretty good with a single or double barrel pipe across here. We're possibly putting another barrel under that road. That will help because that water starts sheet flowing across the shore.
And everything flows towards you, towards Peach Creek?
Here. Yeah, come here. On this side, it's about 5 or 6 feet. On this side here, it falls off to 20 plus feet. There's a lot of slope paving, not formed slope paving, toward slope paving over riprap on this downstream side of this channel where it's way down into Peach Creek here. So that's a project. Another one is.
And that's going to be done by the county?
That's part of their, that's one of
That's
the.
very, yeah, that's one that they approved, I did know that,
Okay.
which was good.
Now, will that be boring underneath, or is that a road closure when they do that?
That's I don't know how the county's gonna handle that project. Most likely, just size of pipe, most likely it's going to be a open cut.
Yes, it wouldn't be boring if I'm not mistaken, right, Scott? We're not gonna do that, we're gonna do an open cut to put the doubles
Put
in.
the doubles in, you have to open the road up.
Okay.
Right, so that'll close in that whole,
It won't close the whole
Side.
road down as long as they do one set at a time. Wouldn't have to close the whole road down.
Yeah, this road in here, it's narrow, but it's originally designed for, it had 2 lanes on it, so there could be a detour.
Yeah. They can work one side at a time, finish that one up, get it paved and everything.
but there's enough room to have two-way traffic on each side of the road while you're doing that, is my question, or are you?
One lane each way.
One lane each way.
Okay.
So that's a project. Then moving up, several years ago, we had a FEMA project here. We had a big washout here. FEMA money, we came in, replaced this bend here with pipe. This reach of ditch the precinct has the plans for that. We had originally looked at that. There was back and forth with Wood Branch and
No, I really haven't.
all of that work. And then this ditch then continues back up here to about this location where Whispering Pines has an outfall to it. So this ditch has Whispering Pines to it, and then there's a Caesar Circle outfall to it also. So once we get up to here, that's about all that this serves. You would think that Appian would come to it, but Appian actually turns and comes down to here and ties into it here. So that's a project.
Is that a widening, deepening, de-snagging, or what is the
What
scope
did they
of that
decide to do
particular
on that?
project?
Are they taking debris out of there, or?
So the plan set that we gave
Mhm.
here, I don't know how it was bid or how we gave them the plan set of this being a rebuild from here to here.
Mhm.
And that this would just be come in and excavate and reshape it.
So when you say rebuild, then are they like dredging it and recreating the channel, or what are they doing when you say rebuild?
The plans were designed for an actual channel, side slopes. There was a 6-foot bottom on it.
See, that's not what we do.
Does that affect the property owners that back to that on both sides? So that's Wood Branch and Roman Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's drainage.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, because some of those have, like next to you, the gentleman's got a fence line that runs right next to that, and then a shed on that back area that.
So this, in here, there's a 50-foot drainage easement on the back of these lots by plat, and then there's a 16-foot UE on it. The channel, when it was placed back, whenever it was done, and it was more or less a natural channel there. It's up here, it's not even inside the 50 feet.
Not even.
It's clear out over.
Yeah.
We looked at, do we rebuild, put a new one in the easement itself? Do we stay where it's at and rebuild it and, let's say build? Where it's at, what's the best method to do it? These houses on the Wood Branch side, there's a drainage easement down to about midway where the ditch finally gets over into that 50-foot drainage easement. We kept more or less the existing alignment and built the ditch there. We did not design this to move the ditch.
Yeah, well, there's a culvert that comes out here and goes back this way, okay? And they replaced a whole bunch of the culvert to here, the culvert, a manhole here, and then ran about halfway in this middle of this guy's backyard here in Wood Branch, okay? And then the rest of this basically was like almost needed to be re-snagged.
Yeah.
Nobody's touched it because of that rail cars being down there, ditch and everything.
Yeah, there's at least two tank cars that they just cut back in the day. You just cut the ends off of them and they make great culverts.
And there's big
There's 2 of them in
concrete.
there.
So when that work gets done, just trying to understand the process, is that the county dealing with those homeowners, or is that the city dealing with the homeowners, and that's us and Wood Branch? Because if what I'm understanding is correct, then that ditch is not where the ditch is supposed to be by the property surveys.
But they're not gonna move the ditch.
Not arguing with you, but what I'm saying is if you're going to go back and recreate it, meaning you may change the slopes,
Yeah.
that's largely gonna affect the citizens of Wood Branch, where the ditch is in their yard,
It is.
where it should be centered, it's not.
Yeah.
It's more shifted to their side, and now you may end up taking more of their yard where they may say, no, I want it back where it should be per the original survey.
I guess that could happen.
So the ditch, I'm not sure, it generally looks like it was a natural drainage course. And it became a division line between the 2 cities. And so when Roman Forest was platted to the property line, they put a 50-foot drainage easement on it. On the Wood Branch side, instead of platting and putting a drainage easement on the plat, they dedicated a drainage easement in the back of these lots by separate instruments, so there's a recorded.
So there
drainage
is,
easement.
So is the,
so even though it's out of its, where it should be, it's still platted as a
Well, I
drainage?
don't know that, I wouldn't say where it should be.
Okay.
It's inside drainage easements,
okay.
and so.
So either way, it
however
is still
that
within the
shape it
easement.
is within drainage
Okay.
easements.
Yeah, now to answer the other question, the commissioner did ask me, would the city help with securing some rights to go on property from our citizens, not from Wood Branch?
Mhm.
And I don't have a problem with us doing that.
Right. And we would have to have access back there to equip that if you're gonna recut that.
Yeah. Yeah, this would be a contractor from the county, this would not be county equipment, so, okay.
So that's a project, that the
What water will that alleviate, getting out of people's houses and stuff?
So by doing this, we have two outfalls. We have the Caesar Circle outfall,
Mhm.
and then we have the outfall off of Whispering Pine. We, when several years ago, or a handful of years ago, when we did some drainage work, we upsized, double barreled some of this in here. This on Caesar Circle drains well compared to other places in the city. So we don't anticipate, and we didn't get any comments from citizens on Caesar Circle. So we don't anticipate really impacting this so much, other than it gets this water out quicker. We have water that comes across this direction, so if we can get this, if this is deeper, this is a better ditch, we'll get the water out, timing wise a little bit quicker, which alleviates backwater.
How much backwater goes into that Caesar Circle? Do we have very many complaints on Caesar Circle?
We didn't get any emails from there that I know
didn't get
of.
any comments there. Where it's going to, I think the greatest impact is up here on Whispering Pines.
Okay.
Whispering Pines has the outfall, obviously. So some of the water comes around this way, but a lot of the water here in front of the City Hall and across, the water comes here, comes down Appian, turns and comes down Whispering Pine to here. You would think it would drain this way, much shorter, but it takes a long way to get there.
Does it make any sense to add anything back here to give it more of a direct access to that? Or does
The
it?
ditch ends,
Does the ditch
generally
stop?
peters out and ends right here. So there's nothing,
Yeah, the ditch ends at Caesar Circle. What goes back before it gets in that ditch along the property line back there.
so one of the projects that was identified, and to us it's a priority, and we'll talk about it later, is priority one is what are impacts to real property, homes. We know from comments that this home here has flooded a couple of times, so this becomes a priority. So that's one of those, with this being dug, it alleviates drainage here, and we can do some work along here to perhaps have.
But this pipe under here is only 54 inch.
Yeah, so this pipe here turns and comes up, I think we brought about 60 feet up, 60 or
It goes further than that, but,
and then it goes into open ditch.
and there's an open ditch right there in Caesar Circle. Okay.
So that's the project. Then we have another one, I think we identified some clean out, some work here. We have that on here, or is it? See that? Yeah.
Right there, definitely.
So this is Cassius Court. This is just a small drainage way that drains some of this. It comes to here, comes up Roman, and then turns and comes down Forum, crosses, and then comes across a drainage way here. So this is generally a clean out, a little bit of work here. This system here, there's 18 or 24 inch that comes across, comes along the fence line, ends at the pipeline corridor. Then it goes to open ditch, and then there's a short piece of cross pipe on this pipeline corridor so that this pipeline has access through it. And then it goes open ditch out here to Centurion. So with that, we requested that a second barrel be put in here and this ditch enhanced to get this water. This is a, Forum Circle is a source of problem, and there's a lot of water that sits right here on this corner. So that's precinct. Then on Gladiator, there's an outfall from Gladiator down to the pond here, and that's another project it's a ditch that we just some enhancement work on it. And then down here in the southeast corner, off of Mockingbird Lane, there's an outfall. At that point, it's a very, would appear to be a natural drainage, heavily overgrown. That part of the project is to actually make that into a legitimate ditch, side slope bottom.
And that's a part of the precinct project? Okay.
And that's just the length and the length of the lot. Say it's 250, 300 feet. But that drains all of this area down in that southeast part. So it's an important outfall, and I think that
What's that drain to, Greg?
there's a ditch that runs all the way down.
That runs along the Gulf?
That runs into a design ditch.
Something like this one.
And then we've got a selective clearing project from here to the outfall here. Call it the tram ditch that comes down. Section 4, Phase 2, Ryan, they did a select clearing down in the bottom of that. This ditch, when it was dug, has a shelf on one side, and then all the spoils went up, and so there's a spoil bank that runs down the entire north side of this open for drainage. But that is a select clearing, and then there's a little piece of drainage right here that comes up. That Centurion, there's really two outfalls here, one right here at Fountain here, and then another outfall here. And this ditch is actually in pretty good shape. It's just kind of a clean job.
Select clearing, that's the snagging and any silt? Is that the way?
You can go in and take some silt out, clean the bottom out, make sure the deadfall's gone, and then along that edge up out of the water, because there's a cutback on it.
Oh, okay.
Up on that shelf, take those trees out.
Mhm.
What it does is it helps your stuff that's in the ditch that's slowing the water down, and you get a better drainage on it.
So that would probably be a rubble deal too.
Oh, this is rebel.
Okay.
All this was put on the
I believe those are the county projects.
Okay.
And those, last time we talked, for second to third quarter?
summer to third quarter.
Yeah, I think Hugo told us summer, fall, but
Right.
you'd know better. I don't know. That's
Is that what they're looking at probably?
So that was the outfalls, the Venus ditch at Chariot, Tram Road ditch, Roman Forest Park requested the second pipe crossing, reshape and clean the ditch at Mockingbird, and then ditch at Gladiator, and then there was one that flows to Forum Circle that I didn't catch what it was. With the fine.
That remains the Forum Circle over Century.
Okay.
And there's a handful of comments, 19, 20, 21, that we identified as precinct 4 projects that some of the stuff that was talked about, we really didn't do anything for those comments because we wanted to see what the precinct, how that helps before we spend money, any other money on it.
All right, let's look at, other than precinct project, that we've identified that these precinct projects are not going to have an impact on.
Okay, so, you said some of what are the priorities or, so I looked at, like I said earlier, houses. How does it impact houses?
Exactly.
There's a difference between some nuisance water in somebody's yard all the way up to my house is flooding regularly. So we know we have a home here on Whispering Pine. So with this being done, this work here along this, and this is item 27 in the package, is looking to come in here, dig that ditch, put some new cross pipes in, do some driveway replacements to get better drainage on it, to get that water. That seems to be that intersection right there. We've got water coming down Silver Oak, we've got water coming down Whispering Pine, it all gathers there, and that house seems to be the lowest slab.
Okay. Okay. And that work to relieve that would not depend on the outfall work?
Well, yeah, that, not necessarily.
Not necessarily, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think that would be a good place to start.
Okay.
That would help that.
Okay.
Then we've got,
I'm sorry, you said that was just to be adding cross pipes, or what would the fix be there in the initial?
I think it's ditch deepening and some driveways.
yeah, so I had 5 driveways that we put double barrel pipe in, and then about 550 feet of regrading of the ditch. And then there's another, item 31 is 306 Magnolia Bend. That sits right here. This home here, Mr. Parnell said their home has flooded 20 times in the last 32 years. When we did the roadside ditch work out here, one of the culprits that we heard and tried to alleviate was the roadside ditches on the north side would fill up. It would sheet flow across the road, fill up his roadside ditches quickly, and then with his home being a low area there, would get a lot of water into it. Since that, about 34 years ago, I don't know if that home has flooded. Again, it's one of those that we would need to go out and talk to him to see what impact we had early on. But we also, with that new outfall on Mockingbird, we think that water will get out quicker and allow that area to drain a little bit quicker. That would possibly, if we can get that water down 3 or 4 inches, that's where his flooding has occurred when we talked to him, is he would get an inch to 3 or 4 inches in the house, enough to soak the carpet, and the flooring, and that was a big problem for him.
If it's been going on for 32 years, do we know if there are any other homes in that area that flood, or is it just this one particular home that is built significantly lower than everybody else's?
I'm not aware of it. We have not heard of any other houses flooding. And I don't know, again, like I said, I don't know, in the past 3 years if he's had a flood event in the house or not, but I do know that here, based off of neighbors, that house has flooded. And to my knowledge, those are the two houses that we'll call them regularly flooded, and actually were part of the comments that came into us.
Which is your new chaplain's home? It floods regularly.
I had no knowledge of that. The house.
Well, he's come and spoken to us before about the flooding, so his garage has been underwater, his back patio he had to have redone, and he said when he uncovered everything from the flood, he found damage where he'd been flooded multiple times before.
That's on that section on Centurion Circle that runs down to that corner we were talking about with,
Do you know if he's one of the comments on it?
Mr. McGee. What's that corner? What's your corner? Centurion and what?
Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony. He's just up the
Do
street
you know if
from
he's
that.
on this list? Is he?
Okay, so this here,
This right here is where he's, what you're talking about, this right here.
Because I know he said that his whole patio, his home flooded, his garage had rot on it where it had flooded numerous times, that was not aware when he purchased.
so this is.
I don't think it's happening now, but this one always goes under.
Yeah, so this is your number one project on your list, not put there purposely, but that's where we started. We've had numerous residents over the years with this for different reasons. They all have the common denominator. We flood driveway washouts. We've got several lots in here that have the roadside ditch filled.
That's what we've seen when we were talking about.
And so, one of those in there, we went out, did some preliminary surveying on it several months ago and gave council, that was the estimate of about $121,000. That would replace, take all of this out, rebuild all of these, this whole system down to the outfall.
So that's the same as number 27 you were talking about earlier. The 5
No,
driveways.
27 is a different project.
It's just similar scope, because that one says 5
Yeah,
driveways
it's
across
similar,
pipe.
so, yeah.
Okay.
And we've done 5 driveways in there. We don't really know if there's a cross pipe in some of these driveways that are at the right elevation, we'll leave them. If the pipe size is correct, we're not taking them out just to take them out. We'll open the ditch up, see what the cross pipes are before we tackle it.
And that's the one where the ditch has been infilled with an underground pipe?
Yeah.
That nobody's sure of the current state of that underground pipe.
Where's that pipe at?
It starts just past this first lot that faces Mark Anthony here and runs.
The pipe runs that far?
Yeah, it's 3 or 4.
Why does it run back to this ditch?
This all drains to here, outfalls here,
Okay.
or comes to here, outfalls, and goes this direction.
Goes that direction.
This pipeline corridor generally, we'll call it the drainage divide, except for this comes this direction. So with this, looking at this, if we have homes in here that are flooding or getting too close to flooding, and I know we've had a couple of the residents in here about issues that they've had, water in their back patio, water in their garage. This is also an area that could be considered a priority.
All right.
Right now, I'm seeing these houses back here, these houses here are our priority.
Yeah, This here is a priority because the house floods. This here, if we've got a home in here that floods, then this is more of a priority here.
Okay, how about in our other areas back in here,
Okay, so,
about getting that drainage?
all right, so then we step down to the, we'll call it priority 2, because it's not, while nobody likes water in their yard, it's not in the house. One that we have a lot of water sitting at is over in section 4, phase 1. And that's at Forest View and Constantine. We're looking at, we've got 4 houses on Constantine. The water comes here, drains to Constantine, out Republic. There's been a second cross pipe put in here by the county.
This one usually is
Then, so we're looking at possibly putting a second 24-inch under Constantine and doing a little bit of grade work here. These 4 houses here have, I believe, 36-inch cross pipe. So with 24-inch, 2 24s, a 36 is actually has more capacity than 2 24s.
Hey, Ryan, come up and join us, man. We're in your territory, man.
Well, instead of putting 24s in, why don't we just go ahead and put a longer pipe for 36 in? Is that gonna lower the ditch too much?
Yeah.
Then, well, we can't do that.
Yeah, we can't get the ditch any lower.
Okay.
And we don't have enough, between the top of pipe and the pavement.
Okay. Another question. What happens if we put like box covers in? The price of that, you know, because we can get a wider box cover with a shallower depth.
You could put more capacity in a box. You could go to a 2x2. A 2x2 compared to a 24-inch is probably 5 or 6 times more per linear foot. And you don't, on the wider you get on the boxes, the heavier the wall. Where a 24-inch is about 3 1/4 inch wall thickness. And you know, if you went to a 2x4 box, your top of pipe, your top of box would be a 6-inch, 5 or 6 inch.
Would it only be a 6-inch because you're driving over top of it? Because if you're pouring your driveway across it, then it doesn't carry that type of load, correct?
We would not do anything. I don't know that we could even find anybody that would build it with a shallower top on it. All those are designed to an H20 load and highway load.
And you take the ability of us being able to use county interlocal agreements because the county's not gonna install those.
Okay.
So then it forces us to
get
go
a fire
through.
across it.
Yeah.
So that has a lot of water on it. There's a lot of water that sits here at Forum and Roman Forest, which is one of the comments. But with some work being done here, we think this is going to open this up and get this water out of here much better than it is now. This pipe is a very slow draining pipe.
Is there also a culvert crossing Roman Forest near the Roman Forest Estates sign that's questionable how well it actually works?
Yeah, so that's another, down here, we've had a lot of comments, not necessarily written here, but over the course of time here, about water setting in Roman Forest ditches.
Right at Redbud.
Yeah. So there's a single pipe, 24-inch or 30-inch that crosses Roman Forest just a few feet east of Redbud. Looking to put a second one in there that would help. This water comes around here. There's while that's good in theory, if we don't have the outfall to carry it, there's no sense putting a pipe in. This
So-
is where Ryan.
That's where Ryan comes in.
In phase two.
Yeah.
So this phase two has three pretty major, well, they are the major drainage for everything here, basically from South Coliseum. Everything drains this way. There's a pipe, or there's a drainage ditch that comes to here, comes down this north edge, Wood Lane comes across, and then it comes in and then outfalls down to here. It's fairly shallow, 4 or 5 feet deep. Once you get down to here, then it goes through steel pipe, 36-inch, 42-inch steel pipe, and then it drops into this from tram back to the road, has achieved the tram ditch flow line elevation. So this is much deeper downstream than it is upstream. I think there's a water line or a sanitary sewer line that's exposed there. That'll have to be addressed as part of it. But a couple of the items in here is this ditch here, this ditch here, and this ditch here all need to be larger and deeper. They can go 2 or 3 feet deeper. There's plenty of depth on the outfall. They won't go as deep as tram ditches, but those can all be rebuilt. They can go deeper, better side slopes, 3-to-1 side slopes.
So do those lots have drainage easements in them, or what is the issue? Right, who owns the ditch that goes in the back of the properties? Right, it's not along the road there?
So that's where we get into the attorneys on it. On the plans, the drainage plans, the design plans, it shows the ditches, it shows the dash lines for easements. You go to the plat, there's no recorded drainage easement on the plat. So I think one of the things that's going to have to be addressed, I'll speak attorney speak, there's prescriptive easements. The channel's been there, everybody knows it's there, there's an easement there. The attorneys take care of that. Or the developer, or whoever owns the adjacent land on it, goes in and dedicates easements. Ideally, that's how you go through the dedication process.
The difficulty we're gonna have from a city perspective though, right, if those are in the back of the properties, then making sure that nobody builds on those drainage sections, whether it's putting in fences, whether it's putting in outbuildings, and how you convey that if it's not currently in the deed restrictions.
But not all of them are at the backs of the properties though.
Most of them should split.
Yeah,
with an
that's what I
exception
wanted
right
to,
here.
yeah.
And majority, I'm gonna say 90%, we own the lots on both sides.
Not disagreeing, I'm just saying that once you sell the lots to the builder,
That's where I'm getting
they're
to.
gonna have to convey that
So our
nothing can ever
attorney,
be built there.
like Greg just said, it shows on the plans and everything, but when you run title, most of them don't show it. Our plan, and we were working with Liz when she was here, is to have all that established and put in place with the title before we start selling to our builder. That way they, when
That
they
would be
buy
the right
it,
way to do it.
it would be like the easement.
The whole city, I wish would have been done that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There are a few that we don't own, maybe one side of that easement or none at all. We'll have to work through that, but 90% of these we have, even the backs, but most of them run in between two lots. So we'll have to work with Scott on, and Greg, how wide they want that, and then we'll record it with each deed on each lot.
So when you do that, then if they were to build a fence in the back of their property, they would have to stop at the easement. They couldn't run it through the easement because it may be a point in 10 years, whether it's the county or the city has to get a piece of equipment through there.
Yeah,
To
the
absolutely agree with
easements
you.
would be drawn up to where you've got high bank to high bank, and then either both sides or one side, you have a maintenance.
So you could fence to it, but not into it.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah.
as long as that's done prior to your sale to the builder, I'm not concerned about it, right? I think y'all are doing the right thing back there. I just want to make sure that we don't start dealing with 100 property owners as opposed to one developer.
So, so Greg, we know we've got to get the water from here to here.
Yeah.
Okay. We know we have an issue here, and you've already discussed putting a second over under here. What is up right in this area? Why does this area seem to flatten out and not want to drain either direction? About where the brick sign is.
Yeah, so, this goes real flat in here, and this is, this area here is where, a couple of years ago, there was your pavement completely failed in there, and then it came in, and we built this upgrade, put the road back in.
Yeah.
This, by having better outfalls, if this was a couple of feet deeper, this was a foot or two deeper. If these were deeper, then these roadside ditches could be graded to get to these.
go
and
to
get
those
that water
outfalls.
off of it.
Would that require the replacement of all the culverts in there? If you're changing the grade on that ditch, or you're now affecting all of those driveways?
That was gonna be my next question.
Well,
Or just on the lots that haven't been built yet?
so it holds water, well, so there's, on Wood Lane, my initial thought was this water comes to here and drains this way, but it doesn't. There's a pipeline here, and the division is here. This water holds through here. I think if this were deeper, because this is holding water, holds water all the way down to here, and across here, slow draining. So if this were deeper, this water, if there was no holding water here, we wouldn't have, I don't think, it would help with backwater on these, and it would allow these to drain.
So how much deeper is it back here where the water's going to here? So the water's going this way, right?
Yeah, it
So
comes to here.
you want to find out how much deeper that is to here before you drop that.
Yeah, so this, on this side of the road, where it's deeper, this is probably 10 to 12 feet deep.
Okay.
So there's plenty of room. If we came in and we dropped, we'll just say 2 feet. If we dropped these 2 feet, the pricing that I had in here was, they placed double barrel 36s all the way and we,
Yeah, it would be cheaper for the outfall to go deeper than to try to make these roads here deeper. Then you're dealing with all driveways.
yeah.
So the outfall would be the best place to go, and then dig the ditch to the outfall and see what.
But without these being either better graded or deeper, there is no salt in this.
Because it's flat. Well, you know, we were there.
I dug it.
It's flat.
I dug it before.
And
No,
what
I think
happens,
he knows.
for some reason, it gets sheet flow from here across the property instead of wanting to go this way. And it just wants to get in here and set. It doesn't want to go anywhere.
What happens if we dig that ditch out first, deeper? That way, any water get to it.
Well, we can all agree the outfall needs to be
Yeah.
dug deeper. So that would be a place to start, but you've got to get the water
I
to
understand
the
that,
outfall.
but we need a deeper ditch first, and then work to a ditch. You can't just dig this on the either side of Rolling Forest, dig a ditch deeper if you don't have any way to get it over there. It's just gonna be a holding.
You got to start at the lowest point and come back. Yeah, no, I agree.
And I do think, especially this ditch and this ditch, this one comes to here, it's more or less peters out.
How wide are those ditches, Greg? Is it a couple of feet, or are they 6
Yeah, what is the
feet?
easement allowance in
And I guess my question
This
is,
has
if
a
you dig
20
them much deeper, are you gonna have to change your slope, and then you're gonna get into a larger easement to reduce your property?
So I think you don't want to go any steeper than 3 to 1 on the slopes. And if you had a 4 or 5 foot bottom on it at 3 to 1, if it was 3 feet deep, you're still going to need a 30-foot easement on it, just for maintenance on it. But I mean, short term, step back to short term is, with the storms that we've had recently, a lot of deadfall out here,
there?
is the very, these ditches need to be gone in and all the deadfall pulled out of it, cleaned out, and just at least desilted in a couple of locations would probably, it's not gonna alleviate it, but it would certainly help.
Right. So you were saying this outfall basically peters out and doesn't really take a lot of water out. Am I correct on that? Okay. But this
That
one,
was a complaint, that one of the comments in here, you always have water holding it, water holding because it doesn't go anywhere.
No, y'all done a lot of work in the outfalls already back there.
is that Republic there?
Do you know what y'all's thinking was of how complete were you before this discussion versus what we're asking for them to be increased or deepened?
We haven't touched them at all.
Oh, you have
as far
not?
as deepening any of those.
No.
The roadside ditches have all been cleaned up and, they're draining a lot better than they were. And then we made sure that these were open and not blocked where they hit this main channel. I thought there was, I think that's one too. It's a very small one, but I think all 4 of those were hitting this main channel that we cleared 2 years ago. But as far as going into these and de-snagging and making them deep, we haven't touched.
And obviously none of those are on the precinct projects list, none of these outfalls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask, this ditch here, the one we're having to dig deeper, what's our cost on doing that? Have we looked at any type of cost on that?
About $100,000 is a rough number on it.
That's pipe and digging to here.
Yeah, so that's digging this out and replacing with double
For double 36s. Okay.
Are y'all gonna be doing any of that work?
Because that's just all dirt
I'm
roads.
just
at the
asking.
moment.
This is the first I've heard about it.
Okay.
I was just talking with Greg before the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, these outfalls here are part of a bigger discussion. Well, I guess maybe a smaller discussion inside of phase 2, how that's gonna be handled and when.
Yeah.
So have we had those discussions between Thornberry and the city or anything about those? Given that we've not requested a detention pond, what responsibility is with the developer, what responsibility is with the city, and is the county willing to participate in any of it?
Those have been conversations that he had with Liz before I got here. We haven't had any since I got here.
Those probably need to be reconvened then so that the people still at the table are the ones making the decisions. But I think there's some responsibility all around would be my guess.
And then just so that we don't have the issue we're having in other places, the roadside ditches in the city generally are designed, for the crosswalks are more or less designed to what used to be the 2-year rainfall event back in the 70s. Things have changed. The county, Montgomery County, their design criteria for roadside ditches is the 5-year event. And so one of our, I guess, recommendations for the city to consider is new development in the city go to a 5-year roadside ditch.
What is that current guesstimation of a 5-year event? Is that 10 inches of rain in 24 hours, or is that?
5-year, depending on timing, runs somewhere 5 to 9 inches. 100-year now in this area is 16 inches. Is the new.
And that's in a 24-hour period?
Yeah,
In 100 years, how much?
about 16 inches.
And 5 years, sorry, you said 2 to 9?
5 to 9.
5 to 9.
I'm sorry.
I agree with you, Greg, 'cause I think everyone that was involved with this knows that there was lessons learned, that we don't want to repeat some mistakes that were made, any of us.
And then also, the other is that right now in plats, but in the city, I believe the minimum cross pipe size is 18-inch. I would ask for council to consider taking that 18 to a minimum 24-inch.
Yeah, I think we have to change. That's,
Is that what you're talking about, 18-inch?
is that an ordinance that has to be done?
Oh, okay.
I think we have to change the ordinance on that to go to 24. That'd be a good deal to do.
If you do that, then you're gonna dig out all the ditches in the whole city.
No, not the future.
New,
Oh,
new
just new
I was
development.
like, there's
No, you don't have to replace what you've got.
just new construction.
And those are just, an 18-inch, surprisingly, an 18-inch only carries about, the 24 is almost double the capacity of an 18.
And we're talking about concrete pipes. How about arch wall pipe, metal pipe? Is that,
Yeah, I think you just go, you write 24, minimum 24-inch, and you can put in there if you want to do it in equivalent,
you know,
if you want to go to an arch
you know?
or an elliptical or,
Yeah, we go with the arch, we can still keep it 24, but a little bit wider.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, you can, the elliptical pipe has that more of an arch.
Yeah.
It's pretty tight with a flatter bottom on it. You don't see much of it around here, but you can pick up a couple of inches of clearance.
I know, we just did a project with the arch pipe.
How many lots in there, Ryan, in section 2?
There's 135.
That's 135 total lots or 135 lots under your control?
Under our control, there's roughly 150 all in.
I was gonna say 154.
There's about a dozen that we don't own yet.
Yeah. I like the replatting the natural drain easements between the lots. I was glad to hear that. That's something that should have happened in a lot of other places in here.
Yeah, I think it came in conversation. I think we ran into an issue. Maybe down in here, there's a little slough that goes through a lot
Yeah,
that catches
There's
that
a swale
drainage.
that comes here and, let me find out where I'm at here. Right here. Swale comes here. Ultimately, that swale comes down and finds its way around, but
Oh,
nothing's been done here, so
Yeah.
there's.
And they built
issue.
a fence here, so we were trying to battle
Yeah.
a slope like this. Built
Yeah.
a fence already.
What's nice is if
Try to get the water
it's
off it.
platted in the property lines,
Mhm.
then you're good. In other words, because right now, these people can, there's nothing that says they can't fill it in and fence to the line.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the attorney comes in.
Yeah. I've noticed most of this, you have pricing there.
We put some early
Yeah.
numbers on it. I've got to talk to some contractors and see, like I've got, in most cases, roadside ditch regrading. If it's not major, I had $7 a foot on it.
We can see what the
I don't
commissioner
know
would
what,
maybe fit some of it in on his schedule, Scott, what do you think?
You didn't talk to him.
I know. I mean, you're the guy that schedules all this, though. You know what your schedule looks like and what.
I know what his schedule looks like.
And what are our capabilities with the city doing that?
We can probably do about one, I would guess we could do 1/50th of what they could do in a day. But we can still do it. We're just not gonna be able to do it in a timely manner.
I think if the city was going to, if I was saying, what is the best use of the city right now, it would be go in here and do some de-snagging, or clean these ditches out as far as deadfall, what's falling into them.
Gotcha. Not worry about silt removal right now. Let's just get the other stuff that's there, out of there.
If your outfalls have issues on them,
Your ditches are gonna have.
from your ditches.
What funds do we have for ditch repair and stuff like that?
No, not anything to cover.
Nothing.
This. But after this, then Scott and I are gonna sit down and start having some discussions about some monies that we have and finding out, can we reroute some of the money possibly for this? What I'm trying to stay away from, guys, is having to borrow money to do this, but I don't know that that's gonna be possible.
Is there any grants available that we can get?
Not that I'm aware of, but I haven't actually researched.
Yeah, the Texas Water Development Board has some, I don't know what to call it, they have low interest loans for cities for drainage and other utility type work. FEMA every now and then, well, I wouldn't count on FEMA right now. If you have anything, I think it's going to be Texas Water Development Board, and they come out with grant projects on a yearly basis, more or less, and you just have to find somebody that can just get it writing grants to get you some money.
Yeah. Okay. Scott, questions, thoughts, comments?
So down here, where we're gonna open this outfall, you said this house flooded, right? Is there plans to open this ditch up to drain the water out here?
So when we on the previous project, we went in and put some double barrels in
Okay.
and did a lot of work in here. We also did a lot of work on the north side to try to eliminate that over the road flow.
So it's already been prepared to open this up and hopefully that works.
Yeah.
Is that a platted outfall or is that just a,
I don't remember.
so we're gonna have to get
Oh,
permission
yes,
to
I
get
see.
anything in here
Yeah.
to even clean that up? Well, on any of them.
Yeah, the ones that are under reserve,
Mm-hmm.
and I know this is, I have to go back, I don't remember off the top of my head if there's an easement here, where it's at.
That pipe over the 54-inch pipe runs right under everybody's backyard over there. I know where that's at.
But as far as the rest of them go, there seems to be an issue, water in backyards, water in front yards. A couple that had, or one house in here that had real close to flooding. We've got to go back out and look at specifics on that to see if there's an issue between the house and the outfall.
So our major thing right now is us coming up with funds to clean out our outfall ditches to meet up with the county ditches, correct?
Yeah, I think if you don't get your outfalls right, then you're always going to have issues.
Okay.
The expensive part of most of this is going to be the per foot digging of these ditches. Am I right on that?
Yeah, the ditches.
If you look at the overall,
Outfall ditches or the roadside?
the roadside ditches.
Yeah, the roadside ditches,
That's going to be a major cost because of the amount of footage that we have.
yeah,
Okay.
you just get into that $7 a foot, it adds up.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, along this whole length, there's this corner, a house here, folks here. Before we did anything, we'd go out, we would want to go shoot everything in here, see what elevations are on cross pipes. We don't want to take anything out that doesn't have to be taken out.
Yeah. And
Ideally, nothing comes out.
just so everybody knows, if we do decide here, the cost is going to be more than the construction cost. There's going to be legal fees on this for taking out these underground pipes.
Why would there be legal fees to take out the pipe?
I'm just telling you, I can see what's coming on that.
I mean, my position on that would be pretty clear that it's installed incorrectly. It doesn't meet city ordinances.
I understand.
They're lucky that it's not at their cost to remove it.
I understand. We will have some legal costs on stuff. I'm just saying.
Otherwise, we could just leave it and let the citizens sue them for causing the flooding.
No, it needs to be repaired. Absolutely it does.
Welcome to my world.
All those people that have those pipes you're talking about though are new residents that didn't put them in. Just so you're, I mean.
Understand, but
Not
what I'm
everybody
saying
knows
is
that.
if they object to them coming out, right, the answer is
Yeah.
they're in illegally, right? You can either take them out yourself, whether or not you bought the property is irrelevant. It doesn't meet city requirements.
Oh, no, I get that. I just
So
want you to
either
know
you
that
take it out
it's
or
not
we'll
the
take it
people
out
that
for
put
you,
in That had the inside
but I don't think
trader
it should be.
information to do what they did.
Got
Okay.
a lot of pictures of these flooding, Greg. I just didn't do a really good job of taking the street corners of where the water's right up to their house. This was last year. I think that is, right, the cross pipes just don't work here to here and here to here. And so the water was just stagnant there. It wasn't moving. You could see where it was trying to get across, but
Yeah, and that's, we look at cross pipes, especially at roads, but anywhere so we have a house on a corner that's holding water. Well, let's put a second cross pipe under the road. So what you're doing is you're moving the flood from this house down to the next.
right,
to
if
the
you
next
haven't
house.
opened up the
And so
outfall.
we've got to be careful. We always look at what's the impact all the way to the outfall before we start.
And when you add a pipe, you change the hydraulics of how much is gonna go through there and come out.
You don't want to create washouts.
There's a lot of, we gotta minimize unintended consequences.
What happens if down Roman Forest, down through the new section, that between the two roads, we put a ditch in, 3 or 4 foot deep,
Median.
down the median?
I mean, it's
Man, we're trying to get water out of here, that to me would be,
yeah, it's essentially detention. But you gotta be careful with that, because if you don't wanna get both sides of your road completely saturated, get your subgrade wet, and then you lose your pavement. So you gotta be careful where you put, especially drain.
I understand that, but if you're cleaning out that one outfall ditch, dig it deeper, if you had like a 3 foot ditch down the middle of Roman Forest Boulevard down there, where water can go there and can come out, and if you do a double 24s or down here to catch this, you're gonna be a little deeper down here, you already said that. We go into the road with 2 or even 3 pipes, so anything coming down that ditch, you're gonna be going to hit the outfall and going outbound.
So through here, I know of at least 2, maybe 3 that have, we'll call them inlets, basically an open
Yeah.
pipe out in the median that drains to the north side.
Yeah, but those are so small, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, those
That's where
handle,
it drains to now.
and a lot
That's
of
on
the
other side
Roman
of
Forest, some of the road is graded to the outside, some of it's graded to the inside.
It just holds water in.
Those are just 15-inch pipes, right? Those ones in the median?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just small.
essentially it's whatever that little bit of grass is. But I think once all this is figured out, then that median needs to be graded to get that water to those, whatever those cross pipes are, get it out of there.
Yeah. Taking that brick structure out's gonna help a little bit, not much, but a little bit.
I don't think that brick structure blocking that much down there,
It's not in a normal rain, but in a bad rain.
because there's only a small culvert right there beside it.
That's a good.
The problem is that it blocks it and then it rises and it gets up on the road, on those inside edges.
And it's too close to the road for safety.
Yeah. It's a great idea.
Where the sign's right there.
Yeah.
But this was, maybe about 3 foot, 4 foot.
All right.
You know.
Yeah, when you got a ditch, right?
What
You gotta
is the
have
problem?
someplace to go.
We do. Thank you so much for coming over and
That's what I
sitting in.
mean, once we clear this out, we put like 3
I got
pipes.
some looking around there.
Yeah, that's a nice shoot. That water's gonna
Yeah,
go off
I figured you would.
Move downhill then.
Yeah, so that's where it just
Won't be
sits there.
tomorrow, but it'll be sometime next week.
And one of the problems I did one
Hey,
day,
maybe you can sneak across
said
right
they just
there.
built a house a foot above the road down there. Before one end up, it's just a 3 foot drop, so houses on the other end.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone's complaining about, right? The newer houses are raised a foot higher and
We're running an hour and a
existing
half,
ones flood.
I'm about to get out, we're about to get out here. anyway.
Well, if council has, if anybody has questions after you read this, it's set up who it is, address, what the comments were, what we, our suggested actions, and then we threw a number on it.
So, Greg, just so I'm understanding, right, the county said that they're gonna do their work second quarter, third quarter of this year. Is there anything that we, the city, are looking at doing immediately? Or are we waiting to see what the county projects improve before we spend anything?
So I think there's a couple of, there's a handful of things that if budget-wise, maintenance, Larry.
He's sitting back here. He's hiding back there.
Sorry.
He's moved to council.
You know, clean some of these outfall ditches, especially up here. This one seems to be the biggest, if there's a nuisance, that's it. And I know that there's stuff in there holding.
Which one?
Come on up to the table, Larry.
Yes. The one across from Redwood, on the north side across.
So that's the short term. And then if you were going to, I guess, prioritize that, it would be, where's the homes at?
Yeah, the three main ones that you mentioned, yeah. Right above the red, let's see here.
Yeah, that, okay.
Now that one, you ought to have
Homeowner
pretty
here
unobstructed
keeps this
access
in pretty
to.
good shape here. Once it turns,
Ain't no followers of wood.
Right, but there's no homes back there, so you've really got free access back there. at
and
the
there's
moment.
good access
Well,
to
they'll,
it.
When it's-
these homeowners will have, that'll be their backyard.
But that,
Okay.
through there, there's
It will
good
be
access
some,
because
yeah.
there's a 10-foot utility easement that has power poles in it.
Yeah.
So it's, and that's cleared to where you got good access.
There are overhead lines back there?
Yes.
Behind the homes there are?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. There is, I knew on the pipeline.
I thought everything was underground.
Yeah, I think there's power lines out there.
That's been there a long time.
Because this is yours, not.
So besides those, is there anything that we're looking at having a contractor do or taking quotes on? Or we're gonna kind of take a wait and see approach on how the county's improvements help before we expend anything?
Well, there's some in here that the county, it's gonna improve. I would say 99% certain there's some in here that have no, doesn't matter what the county does, no impact to it for the most part.
Now, I guess the main thing right now is to see what funds we have available that you and Scott can look at.
Yeah, so prioritize, and I think he's pretty much set the priorities. We want to look at the homes that flooded.
Yeah.
That's priority. What we can do short term, like Councilman Davis says, maintenance on the outfalls, not digging, but clearing. Cross pipes that the county is not on their project list would be next.
Yeah, there's a couple, you only got two
Yeah.
of them. You got one on,
And then,
you have Constantine, one here on Roman First, and I think that's the only two.
and once the outfalls and the crossovers are done, whatever ditch clean out maintenance we can do, and then contracting out the clean out on the ditches, that would be our third.
So the one on Mockingbird, that's county, reshape and clean the ditch on Mockingbird?
Right here.
Yeah.
We will have to assist them to get permission of the property owner.
I'm just thinking low-hanging fruit that's easy to do immediately as opposed to a major endeavor like that one.
Yeah.
And then we've got one here that's actually could be pretty, this on Flamingo. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I don't know anything about that.
But one of the, I know this floods in here, but you would know better, but there's a fence in there that goes all the way to the bottom of the ditch with a small opening.
Yes.
that opening needs to be opened a little more. They still, I think they have some wire
Yeah,
in it, but that is a restricted.
okay.
I don't know whose fence it is.
Yeah, okay, yes, definitely. Any of the water coming off of that pipeline coming from Hummingbird, that should be going to the end of,
Little crotchety guy that lives on the back of
If
Flamingo.
you look up this ditch,
it's right
you
here.
can see the whole.
I know who it is. It's there, that is an outfall, yes.
It's an outfall.
It-
Probably handle that in code enforcement.
Yeah, that fence was put in by the previous owner, Brent,
I'll look into it, sit back.
and it has wire in it to keep, what was, to keep his dogs from getting out, I guess, at one time. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
I'll look into it, sit back and take care of it.
that's fine. Better you than me.
As far as, does
Good
anybody know?
fences and good neighbors.
No,
What Kinder Morgan is doing? They've got the pipeline
Yeah.
running the whole way.
There's,
Nice having a big.
I don't know.
They're putting, it's almost looks like they're gonna put a third pipeline.
I know, it doesn't look good, does it? Looks like it's gonna be a
If
mess.
they do, it's a good time for them to dig a ditch that drains that corridor out.
Wouldn't that be nice to catch that? Can that be made to go towards the boulevard? It can, can't it? Because I catch everything, me and my neighbors catch everything from the hill coming down to that low spot in the pipeline. If it could just go to the boulevard, it would hit the ditch and go. Yeah, I haven't heard what they're doing. I don't know. We haven't had anything in the mail.
Well, they've spent 100,000 on little flags every 10.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of flags.
It's a collection of flags, isn't it?
They're this close together, all the way down the pipeline.
Hey, I don't know where that pipeline goes.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
No doubt there's some ordinance someplace that says the spacing can't be more than 12 inches.
Council, any other questions for, any other questions for Mr. Phipps before we break for the evening? Good? All right, I would just need a motion to adjourn from our workshop.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn from this workshop.
Motion on the floor, Councilman Davis to adjourn for the evening. Do I have a second? Councilman Sanders seconds. All in favor of adjournment? 1, 2, 3, 4. It is unanimous. The time is 7:33. This meeting is closed.
Greg, what's your number?